I'm about as real as they come.
All my beats tailored by Joe. House Digital.
Maserati, Rick in Detroit. Convertible bird in Miami. Graduated summa cum laude. Strip club made a tsunami. Carlton Hines with the ball game. Grateful Edmonds with the snowflakes. Craig Pettis in the M-Town. Sal Magluta with the boat game. Falcone with the cocaine. Like Freeway Ricky with the plug game. Like Monster Cody in South Central. Larry Davis from close range.
I got lied on, man. About to go to a female house. And as I was walking down the street, they was doing a canvas in the area. Stopped me. Who is you? Where you from? I went from about to walk over her house to sitting in the station being questioned about 4 murders. Like, wrong place, wrong time. They told me, like, look, we gonna take you home. We promise we gonna take you home. Only thing you gotta do is to sign this statement. And the statement I was signing was a confession saying I did it. That's how they got me.
Devontae Sanford has been in prison since he was 14 years old after police said he had confessed to the murders of 4 people.
It went from there to me receiving 39 years. So I wasn't ready for that. I had to sleep on concrete for like a week and a half, 2 weeks. Because the police then ran to my cell, took my mattress, my blankets. They took all my mail, they took everything, my clothes, everything. I'm just in there in my boxers, that's it. It was something different. Like I ain't never been locked up before. I was walking in the yard with guys who was in prison for murder and have committed murder since being in prison.
In Detroit, an emotional reunion for a young man who was released from prison after serving 9 years for murders he did not commit.
I want to try to put this behind me and move on with my life and move forward with my family, you know?
Welcome home, Deontay.
My mother was my everything. Like, that was my rock. I fed off her energy. It was times I was down and I just felt like giving up. But, like, hearing her voice just reassured me, like, you know what? Don't give up. Like, keep fighting. She used to send me pictures where she used to be standing out in the cold, holding signs, saying, "Free my son," protest in front of the courthouse. That's what motivated me.
Devontae walked out of the Bellamy Creek Correctional Facility.
I didn't want to be known only as, oh, that's Devontae Sanford. That's the young man that went to prison for a crime he didn't commit. I used to sit in my cell and think, like, what am I gonna do with my life if and when I ever get out? I want to be the voice for the guy who some may look at as a dropout, a gangbanger, that young predator who gonna die in the street or maybe wind up going to prison. I want to be the voice for that young man. So Innocent Dreams is all about gang prevention, mentorship, violence prevention, job training, GED preparement. I'm trying to go out, get different resources, partner up with different people to take it back to the people that I know that need it and that would accept it. I actually been trying to reach out as much as possible to the youth in the city of Detroit, where I'm speaking at different high schools, speaking at different middle schools, some different programs, trying my best to share my story.
I was in level 5, it's 23-hour lockdown. Anytime it was a fight, anytime it was a stabbing, the whole prison getting shut down. Take every opportunity you got to make something, to better yourself. Become more active and involved in your community, bro.
This city is the reason why I started Innocent Dreams. I want to be out there in the trenches where the action at. We got a crisis right now. You mix gangs, guns, and drugs with somebody young. That's destruction. That's another victim or a couple victims. I think if there was some resources and funding gathered around trying to tackle the drug problem around the youth, I know for a fact you will see a reduction in the violent crimes. And I think another thing that needed to be tackled and spoke up upon is trauma. The type of trauma that the kids go through in the inner city, but also how to cope and deal with it and acknowledge the fact it's okay. Like I did 9 years in prison. I was traumatized. I acknowledge the fact that I was a victim and I was traumatized, right? That's the first step. The second step is seeking the right type of help. Because you have to think about it. If it's a kid who is bipolar or ADHD, mix that with a broken home, mix that with a broken school system. Like, you know what you got, disaster. You can't tackle one without the other. You can't just say, we got jobs. That's not enough. You need people stable enough mentally to stay focused enough on a job.
1, 2, 3, hit!
On behalf of the City of Detroit, on behalf of all of my colleagues, thank you for what you are doing. You are truly making a difference. And I'd like to present this Spirit of Detroit Award to you. And then I want to pin you.
I didn't even know I was receiving the Spirit of Detroit Award. I felt like crying. It was a blessing and an honor all in a sense. I haven't even been home a year yet and I'm already receiving that award.
Wow, I'm very honored, to accept this award. I know what it's like to be snatched away from my mother and friends and family. I don't want to see kids go through that. I know it's a better way, and I want to be the one to help guide them through that. I feel needed.
I'm very thankful. That award just made me even that much hungrier. Who would have known? I went from inmate 684070 to Vincent Sanford, founder of Innocent Dreams, receiving an award from the Detroit City Council president. When I told people I'm launching a nonprofit organization called Innocent Dreams for at-risk youth, everybody and their mama was like, how can we help? That's the city of Detroit for you. That's them people out there busting their butt, building them cars, or making them tires, or making them famous Coney dogs. I love them Coney dogs from Lafayette, Coney Island. But them people that care, and want to see you make something of yourself. Detroit is hustle and bustle. If you can make it from Detroit, you can make it from anywhere, regardless of what they say. We built for it tough. It didn't change so much since I've been gone. I came home to what? It looked so beautiful and amazing. I love my city, and I just know how much more my city would be better off, right, with making sure the youth of Detroit will have better job opportunities, better resources when it comes to battling drug addiction and things like that. So that's where I come in, bridge the gap between the two. I am so thankful and honored to be from Detroit. I had a little boy walk up on me who was maybe 8 years old, and he was like, what's up, Devontae? I just want to let you know, you my hero. That's what motivated me and pushed me to keep going in the direction I'm going with helping kids. I'm not only living for me, I'm living for the city of Detroit. I'm living for my mother. I'm living for the struggle. I don't think I can never be mad or bitter. It's a waste of time. I'm too busy trying to learn how to drive and cook to be mad at something that didn't happen 9 years ago when I still got my whole life ahead of me. I want to tell my story to as many people as possible. I want to focus on my nonprofit, and I want to try to save as many people as I can. I want to speak for the people who can't speak up and fight for themselves. Because it was a time I wasn't able to fight for myself or speak up for myself, right? And it was people that was doing it for me. So I'm paying it forward by turning around and doing it for others. This is what I done been through, but this is what I want to do now. It's not about where you done came from, it's about where you going.
Okay, I'm recording now. Could you state your name for me?
Vincent Smothers.
Okay. Vincent, who committed the murder of Jamal Seegers?
I did.
Okay. Where did this take place?
In front of City Airport on Connors.
Okay. Can you be a little more specific on the location and whereabout in front of the airport?
There's an entrance to the actual building that's at City Airport, and it happened pretty much in front of that entrance. What would be okay on one side of the street is all airport, so the other side of the street is where the streets are actually at, and it would have been across from Whithorn on Connors.
Okay. And when did this happen?
September 6th of 2004.
Okay. And how did you know Jamal Seegers?
I didn't know him personally, just as being one of the bigger, better-known drug dealers in the city.
So you knew him through reputation?
Right.
And did you know him by sight?
Yes.
Okay. Did he have a street name?
Q.
Okay. Did anybody else participate in this murder?
I was with somebody else. His name was Jeffrey Daniels.
What's his name?
Jeffrey Daniels.
Jeffrey Daniels, okay. And what relationship was Jeffrey Daniels to you?
Just associates.
Okay. Okay, can you describe how this murder happened? What happened?
I was on one side of Connors, because Connors goes both ways. He was on the other side of the street, stuck in traffic. It was a party going on at the city airport called the Black Party. So everybody that was anybody, was there. I saw he was in a Corvette. Saw his Corvette on the other side of the street, like I say, stuck in traffic. I went up a couple blocks to Finley and parked. Myself and Jeff got out. We walked through traffic towards the back of the Corvette, and before I could make it to the car, I'm assuming, saw me either in the rear view. I don't think he turned his head around to see me, so I believe he saw me approaching in the rear view. And before he can get a chance to reach for a gun or weapon, I opened fire before I made it to the driver door. The passenger, he appeared to be, I don't know, like reaching underneath the seat. I'm not sure what he was doing, but I don't know. Sometimes some people are trying to grab something. Sometimes people are just trying to get under the dashboard. So I can't say for certain which one of those two he was trying to do. But Jeff was on that side of the car. And I shot all the way until I made it to the driver door, at which point Q still had money in his hand. I just rushed through the window, grabbed that money, and then ran back across Connors, where Whithorn at. It's a gas station. I ran up Whithorn behind the gas station and made it to the car. Jeff ended up going up Connors to Finley and made it to the car. By now, there's a police car, unmarked Detroit police car, trying to get to us, and it ended up crashing in the process. The passenger made it out of the car. The driver never got out of the police car, so I don't know if in the crash he was hurt or if the door crumbled and he couldn't get out. But we made it to the car. The police opened fire. We were able to pull off, though, anyway, without getting hit or anything.
How many shots did you fire?
Without being able to say for certain more than 6.
Okay. Did you ever fire when you got up to the side of the car door?
Yes.
How many times?
Once.
Where did you shoot?
I fired about 3 from when I was still at maybe the back bumper, maybe another 3 about a third of the length of the car, and then again as I got to the actual window.
Okay, when you got to the window, where did you shoot the victim there, Mr. Seegers?
Well, towards the head. I don't know if it was hitting the head, but at his head.
Shot at his head. Okay. All right. What happened to the weapons? How many weapons were there?
Well, I had one, and Jeff had one. We had basically like twin guns. They were pretty much the same. They were different calibers though. One of them was a 45. One of them was a 40 caliber. But I ended up giving those guns to Jeff to get rid of.
Mm-hmm. Did Jeff fire any shots?
Yeah, I don't believe he shot at the passenger. I do know he shot once in the air just as I shot, or just after I shot. It wasn't like timed perfectly or anything, but I don't think he actually shot at the passenger. I believe he just shot in the air.
Okay. Why did you decide to come forward, and how did this happen?
Well, I don't know if you. Well, I guess I'm assuming from your letter you're familiar with my reputation.
Yes.
And so I didn't. Let me see what's the best way to put this, because I don't want to say I didn't care that somebody was locked up. It wasn't that. But it didn't. At the time when all this happened, it didn't affect me that somebody was locked up. I mean, I was free, so there was no reason for me to say, "Hey, y'all got the wrong guy." And so, for the longest, probably, since I've been locked up, I had been hearing about, this particular incident. Well, this is not the only thing I hear about, but anyway, I was hearing about this particular incident. And so I had actually started this whole process that we're going through now before I ended up coming here. And then when I came here, the actual guy that was locked up for it was here. Jeff ended up actually getting killed like a couple weeks after this happened. So, that's, his part in it is.
So the guy that's locked up, his name is Theonius Circe?
That sounds about right.
Okay. So how did you find out that he was charged with a crime?
I've been at several prisons with people who knew him and know him. And actually I didn't know that was his name because, I know street names.
So did somebody tell you that this person was incarcerated for the murder?
What happened was I was talking, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this the way all this stuff goes, but you tend to make friends with people or get cool with people, and you get talking, y'all get to sharing situations. And so, in the process of doing that, I was telling somebody about this situation, and they didn't know him. They knew somebody who knew him, so it wasn't a direct link. But they told somebody else that they know, like, hey, everybody calls me Vito. They was like, hey, Vito, was talking about this, and I was like, I know who locked up for it. And so that's how I ended up. Then I ended up connecting with that guy and ended up telling him like everything that happened and all that stuff.
And how did you connect with him?
We were in the same prison.
So you actually spoke with him?
Who are you speaking of?
The person that's incarcerated for the murder of Jamal Seegers, Theonius Circe.
Oh no! This was like I said. This was a while ago. I ended up actually seeing. He ended up being here when I got here, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Circe was there.
Right. Correct.
So how did you find out his name, and how did you contact him to let him know that you had committed the crime. That's where I'm a little confused.
Oh, like I say, and technically I still don't know his name. I know his name is Cersei, but he has a complicated name. I know like I said, I know his street name.
Did you write him a letter?
Yeah, yes. I ended up doing all of that, yeah.
Okay. And what did you say in the letter?
Basically, kind of what I told you. You know, that I heard you was locked up for it. You know, I've been trying to take care of, you know, at the time I was taking care of the situation with Devontae Sanford, trying to get that situation taken care of. And so, explaining that to him, you know, it's unfortunate, but here's what the situation is. Because I know how hard it was for Devontae going through this whole process, and so I know that this isn't even guaranteed.
Right. And
yeah.
Where were you incarcerated when you wrote the letter?
I believe I'm not sure. You move prisons a lot. I might have been at Michigan Reformatory. I might have been at Alger. But I'm not exactly sure. Okay.
And then
but I know I was actually at another whole different prison when I originally heard about this situation. So.
Okay. And then did you eventually send him an affidavit as well?
Yes.
Okay. Did you know Theonius Cersei before you were incarcerated, by a street name or otherwise?
No. I knew of his reputation. Knew, you know, like I say, you hear people's names, you know, when you run in the streets, and so just his nick, like I say, he has a complicated name, so not his actual name. So no,
okay.
I had never met him. Not that I know, you know, and I've probably never been anywhere at the same time as him that I know of that I can.
What street name did you know him by?
Skinny Man.
Skinny Man?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Did Mr. Cersei Skinny Man or anyone acting on his behalf ever contact you before you wrote the letter, or did you do that unsolicited?
No, nobody contacted me. Like I said, I had conversations with, you know, just people, you know, that ended up knowing him, but nobody contacted me directly, no.
Okay. Did there come a time when I contacted you? Yeah. How did that happen? How did that happen?
I got your letter, and I got your JPay too. But I didn't have any stamps, so I couldn't reply to your JPay, and I actually ended up not knowing that your number for the longest time was on the bottom of this envelope.
Okay.
Because I read that it said you wanted to set up this interview, and I actually, you know, I paid attention that the email address and all that was on there, but I never really paid attention that the phone number was on here, so it took me a while to get in touch with you. I mean, you know, maybe a few more days than it should have.
Yeah, I probably should have put it right in the letter. Okay. Who, if anybody, have you notified that you committed this crime other than Skinny Man and myself?
I mean, through what channel exactly? Because I've sent affidavits to several people.
You sent this affidavit about Skinny Man to other people?
Yes.
Like law enforcement or who?
Yes.
Really? Have they responded?
No.
Okay. And what did you send it to the Detroit police?
I don't know if let me think. I think I might have who all I sent it to. Ronnie Dow with one of the news organizations. Actually, several news organizations. Well, I don't know if anybody. Actually, yes. What's her name? I believe Detective Mullins. Actually, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have it here, but I believe to Detective Mullins.
Mullins?
Yes.
Mullins?
Mullins, I believe that is correct.
And that's from DPD?
Yes. Well, like I say, I went through the whole thing, you know, almost 10 years ago now, so I don't know that she even still is working for DPD.
Okay. Why are you coming forward with this information?
Prison is extremely difficult, even when you're guilty. And it has to be more so when you not. I actually was around COs and whatnot with the kid that was locked up, and they were telling me, like, you should never let him out because, you know, he was terrible, you know, as an inmate, fucking up, doing crazy stuff, fighting, stabbing, whatever, everything. And in the process of the couple conversations I did have with him, I saw the same thing. And I told my lawyer that I believe if he ever got out, he was going to kill somebody. Somebody ended up explaining to me something that I didn't look at was, how would you feel, you know, if you were 14 in prison basically for the rest of your life for something you didn't do? You probably would feel the same exact way he did and be in here acting crazy and whatnot too. So I had never thought about it that way, and so I know firsthand how bad this is.
So you're doing it because you don't think someone should suffer in prison for life if they didn't do the crime?
Correct.
Okay. Write that down. All right. Are you willing to testify as to what you've just told me in court?
Correct.
Did anybody either bribe, coerce, promise you, or threaten you to tell me what you've told me?
No.
Okay. And then if I was wondering, if I sent you like a Google Earth map, an aerial map of the airport, would you be able to mark an X where the Corvette was parked,
absolutely.
and then right in there in your handwriting, this is the spot where
absolutely.
And sign that, and maybe have the notary look at that.
Yeah, we have notary in our unit, so that's no problem.
Okay. So is there anything I didn't ask you about this that you think is important, or do you think I've covered everything?
I think you pretty much covered everything.
Okay. All right. So
we do have some breaking news right now. We have just confirmed that Vincent Sanford has been shot. Right now, he is in the emergency room in unknown condition. Sources told us he was shot outside of an apartment on Shane near Larned. You may remember Sanford for making headlines just last year. He spent 9 years behind bars after he was wrongly convicted of 4 murders at the age of 14. Now, it was just on last Monday, that we reported that Sanford and his attorneys filed a civil suit in court against the city of Detroit and 2 police officers. He was just in the news again last week. Of course, we'll continue to follow this story and bring you the very latest developments on air and online at WXYZ.com.
Yo, we back. It's your boy Popalot, Mobb ties. We headed to Detroit with it, the D. The wrong side of 8 Mile to be exact. All my niggas from the D, y'all niggas get in the comment box. Tell them niggas all about 7 Mile Road, 8 Mile Road, Joy Road, all that shit. Now today, I want to say we would probably be covering the most prolific hitman in Detroit's history if it wasn't for guys by the name of Nate Boone Craft or Chester Wheeler Campbell and other guys. The gentleman we talking about today is cut from the same cloth as them. It's going to be a gentleman by the name of Vincent Smothers. Now, a little bit about Vincent Smothers, or Vito, what some people know him as.
Like I say, he was one of the most prolific hitmen in Detroit's history. He was admitted that he was paid over $60,000 over a 2-year period to commit the murders that he committed. He was suspected in so many killings that investigators said that he didn't even remember the names of some of the victims that he killed. But in 2010, as part of a plea agreement that he had with the city of Detroit, or the police department in Detroit, Smothers pled guilty to 8 counts of second-degree murder, where he said he killed 7 drug dealers and 1 female, and that was going to be the estranged wife of Mr. Cobb, who was a Detroit police officer. And I want to say that's what ended up getting Vito caught. He started out his life as a honor roll student. Everywhere I read, it says that the law of money is what took him from that. So if he probably would have been in a better situation financially, him and his family, who knows where he would be. Seemed like a sharp dude. But that murder of the police officer's wife is what initially got him caught, because it put suspicion on the police, because you know that the first person that they question in a spousal homicide investigation is going to be the spouse. So it put an investigation on him, pretty much made the spot hot. I want to say the cop ended up killing himself. That ended up having them put a eye on Vito. They probably reviewed his phone records and all kind of shit, bank records. He was said to have paid Vito only $1,500 for that hit, but ended up only giving him $50 because he was saying he wanted to pay after the heat died down. He almost lucky Vito ain't put the shit on his ass. But I want to say, after the plea agreement that he reached in 2010, he was sentenced to 52 to 100 years at the Macomb Correctional Facility in Michigan. I ain't gonna give up the whole story. We about to get into it. We about to talk a little bit about Vincent VITO Smothers. It's your boy Popalot. Mobb.
Victims of confessed contract killer Vincent Smothers. July 1, 2006. Willie Watson Smothers said his friend Leroy was the middleman for most of his hits, including his first. Willis Blackwell Watson. Watson, 33, was killed while smoking a cigarette on his porch in the 19,000 block of O'Meara. August 16, 2006. Adrian Ad Thornton. A drug dispute put a target on Adrian Thornton's back. Lano, the dope dealer who paid Smothers to kill, even though the two never met, wanted a pair of rivals dead. 27-year-old Thornton, known as Ad, and his brother, Carl Thornton. Both were drug dealers who supposedly had shot one of Lano's crew years earlier. According to Smothers, Lano wanted payback. On the afternoon of August 16, 2006, Smothers was lying in wait when Ad and his best friend, Ken Motorhead McKennedy, walked out of Thornton's dope house on Strasbourg, Smothers told police. With a pistol in each hand, Smothers opened fire as his victims stepped onto the porch. Thornton stumbled down the steps and about 10 feet before collapsing, according to Smothers and police reports. McKennedy survived a gunshot to the head. Jan 17, 2007. Carl Thornton Smothers had been paid to kill a pair of brothers, but had only killed one. The hitman waited 5 months to finish the job. Smothers said he returned to the same East Side area where he'd killed Adrian Thornton and waited in an abandoned house until Carl Thornton, 29, pulled up. As the victim got out of his car, Smothers gunned him down, and shot his 22-year-old female companion in the buttocks. She survived. May 24, 2007. Marshall White and Johnny Marshall. Vincent Smothers dealt only with his friend Leroy when negotiating hits. Leroy worked for a man named Delano Thomas, known on the street as Lano, who in turn worked for drug kingpin Adonis Maceo Black. Black was convicted in federal court of orchestrating a scheme using Chicago-based concert tour buses to shuttle drugs and cash around the country. The FBI searched the buses in April 2007 and a federal indictment named 2 bus drivers as having cooperated with authorities. A month later, Smothers said he got his third job, killing 2 bus drivers from Chicago. The U.S. Department of Justice accused Black of paying Smothers to kill the 2 drivers, although Black was never convicted of murder. He was, however, found guilty of running the drug enterprise, and is serving a life prison sentence. Brown had told the 2 bus drivers to meet him on an East Side street corner. The plan was for Smothers to meet them instead, and kill them both, according to court testimony. But as Smothers was driving to the location, he said his car broke down. He continued on foot, calling Leroy to tell him he'd need a ride. But as he spoke with his friend, Smothers spotted the 2 targets. Their car had also stalled, and was pulled over to the side of the road at Joseph Compound, the Interstate 94 service drive. Smothers said he continued his cell phone conversation as he executed both men. Marshall, 64, was shot as he looked under the car's hood. Smothers said he then fired through the windshield, killing White, 56. He walked away, Smothers said, and told Leroy the job was done, and that he needed a ride home. June 21, 2007. Clarence Cherry and Gaudriel Webster. Smothers said his 4th assignment from Lano was to kill drug dealer Clarence Cherry. Smothers dressed in a suit for the occasion. This time, he brought along an accomplice, Lakari Berry, whom Smothers later called a fool. The 2 broke into a house on Gravier Street and demanded to know where the money is, in what Smothers said was a ploy to make people think robbery was the motive for the killings. But Cherry wasn't home, only his girlfriend, Gaudriel Webster, her friend, Cassie Rice, and 2 children. Smothers and Berry ordered Webster to call her boyfriend to lure him to the house. She complied, and when Cherry arrived, Smothers and Berry shot him 20 times. They then shot Webster and Rice. Rice survived, but the head wound left her blind in one eye. As Smothers and Berry escaped, someone jotted down Berry's license plate number. Police tracked him down and he was charged and convicted in the killings. Berry, who was sentenced to life in prison without parole, never mentioned Smothers' involvement. September 17, 2007. Michael Robinson, D'Angelo McNoriel, Brian Dixon and Nicole Chapman. Smothers confessed to the killings on Runyon, and a Michigan State Police investigation found he was responsible, although prosecutors are still weighing charges against him. The following is based on Smothers' statement to police. Michael Robinson, a marijuana dealer who grew his product in the basement, was often seen sitting on his porch, selling weed and putting the proceeds into a shoebox he kept next to him. On September 17, 2007, he had friends over to watch the Washington Redskins and Philadelphia Eagles face off on Monday Night Football. D'Angelo McNoriel, and Brian Dixon and his girlfriend of 6 years, Nicole Chapman, a former Southfield High School homecoming queen who worked at the school's book depository after graduating in 1996, and Valerie Glover. At about 11:30 p.m., 4 of them were gunned down in the living room of Robinson's home on Runyon. Glover was shot 5 times, but survived by crawling into a back bedroom and hiding under a bed. Smothers said he and Ernest Nemo Davis were responsible for the killings, but Devontae Sanford, 14 years old at the time of the homicide, was convicted after giving a confession to police that was rife with inaccuracies, in contrast to Smothers' accurate account. December 26, 2007. Rose Cobb. David Cobb. One of the killings not ordered by Lano was the execution of Rose Cobb, the 47-year-old wife of Detroit Police Sergeant David Cobb. That job was set up by Marcel Black, the son of Cobb's girlfriend. Black introduced Cobb to Smothers, whom he knew from neighborhood basketball games. When they met to plan the crime, Cobb told the hitman he should expect to be questioned about the murder. Smothers told police. He said, "As long as they don't have the gun, they don't have nothing." Smothers told police, adding Cobb told him 5 times to make sure to get rid of the murder weapon. Said I wouldn't get any less time if I said he hired me, Smothers told investigators. The details of the hit were worked out. Smothers was to kill Rose Cobb as she sat in her minivan outside the CVS drugstore on East Jefferson and DeCashin. Cobb handed Smothers gloves and protective sleeves to keep gun residue from his hands and arms. The night of the hit, David Cobb told his wife he needed to run into the store for a second. While he was inside, Smothers said he killed Rose Cobb, but tried to make it look like a robbery. I broke out the window, and demanded her purse. She was screaming. She was afraid. I wanted to take her purse so it wouldn't look like a contract kill, but she was panicking, moving around too much. To keep from any further delay, I shot her in the head. She fell across the console toward the driver's seat. Smothers said the Rose Cobb job made him consider getting out of the killing business. When asked how he felt after killing the woman, Smothers told police, "My stomach was in knots. I thought she was innocent." Smothers said Cobb reneged on the $10,000 payment, giving him just $50 and saying he'd pay the rest later to avoid suspicion. For more information, please follow the link below the video.